Genome is like a book which has 23 sheets of paper. Each sheet of paper has two sides, that is, it has two pages, front and back. Similarly, so in this book of 23 sheets or 23 chromosome pairs, there are 46 pages or 46 chromosomes in the human DNA. Now, the entire text written on a single page, that is on a single side, makes up a complete DNA molecule. Now, obviously, the text on a page consists of sentences. A sentence starting from here to here, then another sentence starting from here to here, and so on. Similarly, this long DNA molecule on a page is divided into sentences. A sentence from here to here, from here to here, and so on. So there are 30,000 sentences or 30,000 genes in the human DNA. And sentences are formed by words. So there are 3 billion words in this book, or 3 billion base pairs, and these words are made by alphabets. English language has 26 alphabets, but there are only 4 alphabets in the book of genome, and those alphabets are A, T, G, C. Please note that in a book, words repeat themselves. Words are not unique, but the sentences are unique. So here we can see that the words or the base pairs are not unique, but the sentences or the genes are unique. The 4 alphabets A, T, G, C make the words, and words form sentences. Now look at this, all inclusive IAS written in Hindi. Now A, L, E, these are alphabets just like A, T, G, C, and the line at the top of them is the sugar phosphate backbone. This photo you would have seen in many movies and all, right? So here this is a molecule A. Okay, now A will always pair, this is another molecule. A will always pair with T, and G will always pair with C. So this is, let us say, A. Okay, so this is A. A will always pair with T, and this is suppose G, so here will be C, and then here could be T, then here could be, you may say, C. So the opposite one will be fixed always. Okay, that is one rule. How to learn this? Simple. A will work with T. So how is A formed? A is like two lines, right? One line like this and one line like this. So while making T, you put one line like this and another line, instead of here you put another line here. So A and T are similar. What about G and C? This is G and this is C. So C is also just like G only, just a little difference. So G and C are similar, they will always form together, right? So that is one thing you have to learn for your examination. Now once you get the words, once we have got the words, so this is a word, all inclusive is another word, this is another word. So these words are base pairs. Base pairs are not unique. Words get repeated in the book, right? But words combine to form sentences, and sentences are unique. Suppose the sentence is, the person whose genome is this will have black eyes. That is what is written here in this book. Suppose, see, your genome is unique. So in your genome, suppose it is written, person with this, the person will have black eyes. This is one sentence. Another sentence will be, he will have curly hairs. Like this. Okay, so this is another sentence. So like this, everything, every detail of your body is mentioned in this book of genome, right? These are sentences, and when sentences combine, whatever sentences are there on a single page, these sentences are called as your DNA, right? And these sentences are written on a page, that will be the chromosome, and sheet of paper has two pages, front and back. So chromosomes are always in the pair. This is one DNA molecule, this is another DNA molecule. So this is one sheet, this is another sheet. Sorry, this is one page, this is another page. Two pages combined to form a sheet of paper, right? So the human genome has 23 chromosome pairs. These 23 chromosomes are in the nucleus. Okay, this is cell, this is animal cell which has a nucleus. In this nucleus there are 23 chromosome pairs, right? Now think like this. Suppose this book is about your genome and this book is my genome. In my genome it is written that the person will have blue eyes. In your genome it is written the person will have black eyes. So these we are talking about the genes. So this is one gene. It is in my genes that I will have blue eyes. It is in your genes that you will have black eyes. What if scientists take out this gene from my genome and put it in your genome? Then yes, you will also have blue eyes. Okay, that is actually how the genome editing is done, which we will see later. So God is writing the books. Okay, so this book in God's library of species, this book is on humans, this book is on chimpanzee, this book is on dog. So every book has a genome of particular species, right? In this whole library, this is the whole life form. Now obviously all books are not exactly unique. There would be many sentences which would be similar, right? As a whole the books are unique, but many sentences will be similar, so many genes are similar. So if you compare the genes of the human genome with the genome of a chimpanzee, you will find, that is, if you're comparing two books, in these two books of human versus the book on chimpanzee, you will find that 97% sentences will be same. Only 3% sentences differ, right? You can imagine also, in both these books there will be written that there are 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 legs, right? 1 nose. So obviously many things would be written similar. So if you change human DNA by 2-3% in a particular way, you can form a chimpanzee. Okay, 47% similarity with fruits, 84% similarity between the human and dogs, and each human is also unique. It is not that one book on human genome has been written, so all humans have same DNA. No, all humans have unique DNA. In each book of each human, there is some difference. Like I explained to you earlier, na? If this is your book, genome, and my genome, then we have exactly all the qualities same, except the colors of our eyes and maybe the curly hairs or something like that. Okay, so few differences will be there. Otherwise, there is lot of similarities. See, I explained to you in a particular way above, just so that if you get confused in exam, you can, recall the correct things. So now let us just overview. Okay, let us just review what we have studied. So there are many alphabets, ATGCR4 alphabets, which combine in a particular order to form words. So these base pairs are actually the words, and these are joined by the sugar phosphate backbone. Now words combine to form a gene. So this is one gene, or a sentence. Words combine to form a sentence, that is another gene. So these are genes, just like sentences, combine. This is one sentence, another sentence, another sentence. Sentences combine to form the text on a page. Similarly, these are genes, one after the other, which combine to form a long DNA molecule. You are seeing this all hodgepodge rope. Okay, this cumbersome rope. So this long cumbersome rope from here till here is actually the text written on a page. That is, it is a single DNA molecule. Now this single DNA molecule is within a chromosome. So this is a chromosome in which a DNA molecule has been fitted inside. So the chromosome is a page. Okay, and a page has like one sheet has 2 pages, front and back. So these are 2 chromosomes. Okay, these are 2 chromosomes. You can also think of a DNA like this, that this is one gene, this is another gene, this is another gene. So genes or sentences combine to form a DNA. So the complete information on a human, okay, the complete information on a human, the complete DNA, you can find in the nucleus within the chromosomes. Whatever I have explained, I have written it here. So you would have understood that the genome is the complete set of DNA. So on a page, this is one DNA, another page, another DNA. Like this, 46 DNA molecules are there, and the complete set of these DNAs is the human genome. Genome sequencing means studying this book from first sentence to the last sentence. Okay, you properly sequence, you properly study that what are the different sentences and what order they are. Okay, what is written, you complete the complete study of this book is called as the genome sequencing. There is also something as genome mapping. Mapping is just like sequencing but less detailed. You can think of mapping like an index. When you make an index, you simply write that which genes are given on which page number, right? So mapping is like sequencing but it is less detailed. So but I would recommend that for your prelims or mains examination, don't get confused between sequencing and mapping. No need to differentiate until and unless specifically asked. Don't try to make a difference out of them. Even if genome mapping word is used, assume it to be written as genome sequencing, because UPSC may not go into such small detail. 2011 and 2017 questions were quite similar based on the same concept. 2011 question says, what is the benefit of knowing the DNA sequence? First option is, it is possible to know the pedigree of livestock. Yes. See, your DNA is unique, but you can obviously see about the different races. Okay, this is like the one race of one particular breed of dogs. This is another breed of dogs. So they will have much similarity within their genome. Okay, there will be difference between the individual genomes, but overall they will have more similarity than the other pedigrees. So you can know about the purity of the bloodline of particular livestock. Okay, that your genome sequencing will tell you. Another sentence is, it is possible to understand the causes of all human disease. So you may think that there are some genetic disease. So obviously we will by DNA sequencing or genome sequencing, we will know the cause of genetic disease. But what about the non-genetic disease? See, actually second sentence is actually correct. Understand it like this. This is a book of human genome. This is a book of genome of some other life form, another organism, not human. Now here is a virus. Let us say it is HIV virus, HIV/AIDS, or let us say this is coronavirus, right? Now, do these viruses affect humans? Yes, they do. Do these viruses affect all the life forms on the earth? No, they don't. So this organism is not affected by HIV or corona. Why? What is the difference? The difference is the genes. So in this organism's genome, there is no gene which would interact with these viruses, which would be affected by these viruses. But in the human genome, there are some genes which are getting affected by these viruses. So if we are able to identify this particular gene and we are able to modify it in such a way that it will stop interacting with these virus genes, then yes, we will get immunity. So we are able to, by studying this DNA sequencing and all these things, we are able to understand the cause of the disease. The cause is that our particular gene, this particular gene is interacting with this HIV or coronavirus. So we will see this later. What one scientist did was, he identified a gene called CCR5. That CCR5 gene actually interacted or got affected by the HIV virus. So he modified this gene in such a way that inbuilt immunity the person got from HIV virus. So no injection is required in a way. Traditionally we have those pathogens and antigens, that is not required. Inbuilt in the genetic code of the human, we have given the immunity against HIV virus, Okay, so like this second sentence is also correct, that it is possible to understand the causes of all human disease, even if it is a non-genetic disease. Third is, it is possible to develop disease resistant animal breed. That is what I just explained to you now. By taking the example of CCR5 gene, we developed humans which were resistant to HIV. So all the three sentences are correct. 2017 question is similar. It is simply asking about the benefits we can have in agriculture. Same thing. First sentence is, we can identify the genes that are responsible for particular disease resistance or drought tolerance. Yes, every trait, every characteristic is due to some particular gene. If a crop, if a plant is disease resistant or it is drought tolerant, it is due to some particular gene. It helps in reducing the time required to develop new varieties. Yes, of course, there are two varieties of wheat. This is the genome of one wheat variety, this is genome of another wheat variety. Okay, so this genome of wheat variety 1 has a particular gene which gives it drought tolerance, but this wheat variety does not have drought tolerance due to absence of this gene. So we can, but these are a little bit different varieties of gene of the wheat, right? So we will transfer this gene to the genome of this plant, so we will get a new variety of a crop plant with new characteristics, right? So second sentence is also correct, because we know that which particular gene we need to transfer. Otherwise we will do hybridization trials, hit and trial. Okay, that is not required. You identify the gene and you transfer it, so it will reduce the time in developing new varieties of crop plants. It can be used to decipher the host pathogen relationship. I explained to you with the example of HIV and coronavirus. Na? Host, this is the human genome. Humans are the host, and that virus, AIDS or coronavirus, is the pathogen. So how are they, interacting? What is the relationship between them due to particular gene? That we are able to study. So the third sentence is also correct. Now, since there are so many benefits of DNA sequencing, genome sequencing, therefore scientists run many programs for genome sequencing. Like during 1990 to 2003, there was a human genome project where the aim was to do the complete genome sequencing of the human DNA. Many countries are part of it, but India was not part of this project. Okay, now India has launched its own project, Indigen project. Indigen project is by CSIR. It has done the genome sequencing of 1029 Indians. It is not 1008. It is 1029 Indians. It has found 5.6 crore nucleotide variants, and 32% of these variants are unique to Indians. Okay. Now this is about 1029 Indians. There is another program of Department of Biotech, which is Genome India project. It will do whole genome sequencing of 10,000 Indians. It is led by Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So this is about the genome sequencing of humans. What about the genome sequencing of other life forms? Is there a project for that? Yes, that is Earth Biogenome Project. It is running since 2018. Its target is to do genome sequencing of all the eukaryotic biodiversity on Earth within 10 years. What do you mean by eukaryotic diversity? Eukaryotic biodiversity means eukaryotic organisms are those whose cells have specialized organelles which have a true nucleus. Okay, in the cell there is nucleus, there is vacuole, ribosome, lysosome, mitochondria. These are specialized organelles, and there is a specific nucleus. But in case of prokaryotic cell, there is no true nucleus. The genetic material within the nucleus is actually freely floating within the cell. Okay, so prokaryotic example is bacteria or archaea, and the example of eukaryotic is all your plants and animals, all they are eukaryotic. So through Earth Biogenome project, we are going to do genome sequencing of all life forms on earth, eukaryotic life forms on earth. Now India is a part of this project, and National Institute of Plant Genome Research will be doing genome sequencing of 1,000 species within 5 years and hence contribute to this project. Now Department of Biotech under Ministry of Science and Technology has some specific programs on genetics as given on their website. I have mentioned them here in one line. Okay, no need to study the details. Just remember the Department of Biotech, and the main purpose. Umeed program is to identify the genetic disease in pregnant women and in the newborn babies, and for this in some big hospitals Nidan Kendras will be formed. Genome India, we have explained, to do genome sequencing of 10,000 Indians. Human Microbiome Initiative of select endogamous population. It is mainly for genome sequencing of the tribals. Program on monogenic disorders. Many times you would have seen in news that people of a particular area have a particular type of disease. Why is that? Because they have a particular gene. Okay, a particular gene is causing a particular disease in people of a particular region. So we will, through this program, identify those particular single genes which are causing the problem. National Genomics Core. So government has created a central facility where lot of database on genetics is there, and it has very high computing powerful computers also. So different universities and companies can use this database and these computers to do research and development into the study of genomics. So that is the National Genomics Core. What are the benefits of DNA tech? So benefits are many. Okay, there are many benefits. For example, you know that in your forensic investigation whether a person was at a crime scene or not, you know. So for that we are bringing the DNA bill also. It is a bill, it is not a law, so it is not important for your prelims examination. Chemicals for industries. So many chemicals are secreted by many organisms, and if you modify the genetic structure of an organism, you can get the desired chemicals also. Okay, so different chemicals you can get by the DNA tech. Some health benefits. Through DNA tech, genome sequencing and other things, we can detect the disease, we can prevent them, we can treat them. Pharmacogenomics. So different people respond to different medicine in a different way. So some medicine may be more effective in, let us say, Indians than the people of USA, because our genome is in such a way that it is responding in a good way to a particular disease or a particular drug. Okay, so our genome is, so what we can do is we can create personalized medicine, right, so that the medicine is more effective in a particular type of population based on their genome. We can use it in agriculture sector to create genetically modified crops. We will study about the genetically modified crops later. Okay, you can increase the yield, you can make a plant drought resistant, or disease resistant, and all such things. These are the benefits. What about the challenges, or you can say what about the dangers? What about the dangers of DNA tech? So in Indian Express there was an article about the Genome India project talking about mapping the Indian genome. So the point is, what do you mean by Indian genome? By genome studying, by knowing the genome sequencing and everything, can you tell that a person is Indian? No. See, India has people from 5 or 6 races. Okay, each race has many individuals. DNA of each individual is unique, but overall, if you will notice, then the DNA of these two races will have some differences. right? So by DNA maybe you can identify the race of the person, but you cannot identify the nationality or the religion. Think like this. This is India. Now in India, if you do this genome sequencing and everything, you will find that the genome of people of South India is more similar to the genome of people of Sri Lanka. Genome of people of Northeast is more similar to the people of Myanmar as compared to the genome of the North Indians, right? So you can't really tell that a person has these genes, so he's Indian. You can't say like that. Okay, so it is given in this article. This is more important for your means examination. It says that it gives an example of like fascist regime of Nazi. Okay, so these fascist people have a favorite strategy, that you use science and you twist the facts in such a way that you meet your agenda. Okay, so it says that in India a lot of politics is about the indigenous people who are Indians, who are not Indians, and by using the data of the Indian Genome Project, okay, in future some fascist people, what will they will do, they will talk about DNA, they will politicize the issue, and they will use this data in such a way to say that these are Indians and these are not Indians or something like that. So DNA will also become a political issue when we will run such programs. So it is a negative effect, you can say. Okay, it has many benefits, this program has many benefits, but some people use good things also to get their target or whatever. Can you transfer genes from one organism to another, from one species to another? Yes, you can. Suppose this is the genome of humans and this is a genome of particular bacteria. So from the genome of a particular bacteria, you can take a gene and transfer to humans. This you can do. This is totally possible. Okay, so what is gene editing? It means you are adding some gene, removing some gene, or you are doing some alteration to a particular gene. And there are many technologies to do this genome editing. Name of one such technology is CRISPR-Cas9. So what CRISPR will do, CRISPR will do the guidance that in this whole book exactly where you need to do the editing. So it will guide a scissor. CRISPR will guide a Cas9 molecule. CRISPR will do the guidance and Cas9 molecule will actually come here and do the cutting. It will remove this particular gene. Okay, so CRISPR-Cas9 is a technology. Like in the 2019 question, Cas9 protein that is often seen in news. It is a molecular scissor used in targeted gene editing. So it was actually used by a Chinese scientist, He Jiankui. He used CRISPR-Cas9 to edit the genome of two twin girls. Okay, they were born. These two twin girls were born by this scientist doing some genome editing. He changed the CCR5 gene of their embryo in such a way that these girls have resistance to HIV virus. The same thing that I had explained earlier in this lecture. Okay, so just remember that genes can be transferred from one species to another species also. All kind of things you can do. See, everything about the human is written in your book. Okay, if you can edit this book, you can literally do anything that you want. One more thing, what are pleiotropic genes? So pleiotropic genes is a single gene which controls more than one trait. I explained to you, genes are like sentences. There is a sentence, this person will have blue eyes. Another sentence, this person will have curly hair. Another sentence. So each gene is controlling one trait, but there can be long sentences also, that this particular person will have blue eyes and curly hair. This is one long sentence, and this one long sentence is controlling two traits, right? So these such genes are called as pleiotropic gene. Same thing was asked by UPSC in 2002. When one gene controls two or more different characteristics, it is called as pleiotropy. when we do gene editing in this person, will those edited genes pass on to its offspring or the baby? It depends. If the gene editing has been done in his germline cells, that is, in the egg cell or the sperm cell, then yes, the genetic editing will pass on to the baby. But if the genetic editing has been done in the somatic cell, that is like this neuron, then it will remain in this person only. Those edited genes will not pass on to the baby. Now see the 2020 question. Genetic changes can be introduced in the egg cell or sperm cells. Yes, definitely. Genome editing can be done before birth in the embryo also. Yes, definitely. In the embryo stage also, you can do the gene editing. Third is, human induced pluripotent stem cells can be injected into the embryo of a pig. Now, what is the meaning of induced pluripotent stem cell? This I will explain to you just in a minute. But suppose you don't know the meaning of this induced pluripotent and you try to understand in the examination hall itself. Then you will read this sentence as human cell can be injected into the embryo of a pig. So you will think this is wrong. Common sense will tell you that this is wrong. You can transfer genes from one species to another. Genes you can transfer, but cell, you can transfer the whole cell from one species to another. It may sound strange, but it is actually correct. Like this article in The Hindu said that what Japan is doing, they are growing human organs in animals. In future, we will not need kidney transplantation from another human. We will, in our laboratories, we will create the animals in such a way that they will have the parts that human body needs, and we will harvest them for organ transplantation. So it is surprising, but actually the third option is also correct. So in this question, all the three options are correct. So understand one concept. This is you. Your different body parts have different type of cell. You have some neurons, nerve cells, you have heart cell, lung cells, liver cell, skin cell. So each cell has a specialized function. And you are made from embryo, and that embryo started from a single cell. From that single cell, many cells were created, then many cells were created, and so on and so on. Finally, today suppose you have 10 different type of cells in your body. So all these 10 different type of cell, heart cell, brain cell, and all such cell, they actually originated from a single cell, right? So what is potency? Potency is the ability to differentiate into other cell types. Your skin cell is not, we can say, it does not have a high potency. If you tell your skin cell that please convert into my heart cell, my heart has been damaged, so my skin cells should convert into my heart cell, or they should convert into my kidney cell. No, they won't, they cannot. So their potency is very low or negligible. But what about the potency of the cells in the embryo? Yes, when you were an embryo, then your the potency of the cells was very, very high, right? That is the meaning of potency, ability to differentiate into different type of cell. So totipotent cell is a cell which can differentiate into any kind of cell of the human body. So the first cell from which you were made, that was totipotent, and from that different type of cells were formed. They were then pluripotent. They can differentiate into many type of cell, but limited number of cells. Okay, then came from pluripotent came multipotent cell. They can also differentiate into different type of cell, but less number of cell. Totipotent, for example, totipotent cell can differentiate into, let us say, 100 type of cells. Pluripotent can differentiate only into 50 type of cells. Multipotent can differentiate into only 10 type of cell, like this. Unipotent, they cannot differentiate into other cell types. Now what is the meaning of induced pluripotent stem cell? So it means that a cell is not pluripotent, but you are inducing it to be. You take a unipotent cell and you change its genetic material in such a way that it will start behaving like a pluripotent cell. If I'm not wrong, then when an embryo starts to form, then within 15 to 20 days, the cells in the embryo are pluripotent cell. Okay, so pluripotent cell can divide, they can specialize into different type of cell. So if you are able to take a cell of the human body and able to make it behave like a pluripotent cell, then you can treat all kinds of disease of the human body, right? So what are the stem cell? Stem cell is simply a cell which can develop into different type of cell. That is a stem cell. So these are unspecialized cell. That is the same thing like totipotent cell or pluripotent cell, because they can differentiate into different type of cell. Example, I've given you the cells in the embryo. However, in the adult also, today in your body also, you will think that all cells have a specialized function. That's true. But still in your body, there are some cells which have this ability of pluripotency or multipotency, okay, which can still differentiate into many different kind of cells, and those are called as a adult stem cell. Okay, most of the stem cells are embryonic, but there are some adult stem cell also. So I'll just give you a small hint. For example, you must have heard in the news that a person's bone marrow was transplanted. ठीक है, or you must have heard about when a baby is born, now there's a trend that the part of the placenta is stored for many years in the laboratory under severe cold conditions, है ना? So what is the purpose? The purpose is the same about the stem cell therapy that UPSC also asked in the 2017 mains examination. Okay, so the stem cell therapy is mainly that you preserve the initial cells of the baby, so that if in future life as an adult, if it faces any disease, severe disease, then you can save those initial cells. The saved cells you can use and you can convert them into the specialized cell of your body. Okay, so that is the main concept about all these stem cell therapy and other things. What is cloned animal? So humans have DNA different from chimpanzee. So more human DNA and chimpanzee genome. Okay, these are two genomes. So obviously our genome is different from that of chimpanzee, but in humans also each human has a different genome, a unique genome, right? So this is your genome and this is some other person's genome, right? They're also different. So each genome is absolutely unique. There is not much similarity. There could be 99.9% similarity, but there will be 0.1% uniqueness in your genome. But what if scientists are able to create the exact copy of your genome? This is your genome and scientists are able to create exactly the same copy of as your genome. Then what will happen? Then that other individual will be just like you. Okay, practically speaking, there are some random mutations that automatically happens. You have no control over them. Automatically there may be slight change in the genes that you cannot control, but otherwise theoretically you are creating the exact copy of a person, that is a clone. So cloned animals have identical DNA as the original animal. In nature it happens automatically in bacteria, fungi and some plants, but in animals like sheep, goat, rat, it does not automatically happen. This is your genome, okay, and this will be your child's genome. So your child's genome will be very much similar to your genome, but still it will have some uniqueness, right? But in a case of clone, there is 100% similarity. So in the laboratory, scientists have created cloned animals of sheep, goat, rat, etc. World's first cloned animal was Dolly the sheep, created in 1996, and it died in 2003. This is not 2203, this is 2003. It was the first mammal cloned from adult somatic cell. And the first buffalo The first buffalo to be cloned was Samroop. It was cloned using the hand-guided cloning technique in 2009 at the National Dairy Research Institute in Karnal, Haryana. So this is the first class of Science and Tech. We have discussed first 3 pages. Rest of the pages you can read by yourself by downloading the PDF. The link to download the PDF is given in the description box. You can download it from our website or from our Telegram channel. Similarly, in the second class also of Science and Tech, few pages will be discussed on the YouTube and rest of the pages you can read by yourself. Same thing will go on for the other classes of Science and Tech also. In case you want the explanation video of these pages also, then you will have to purchase our paid course. The paid course for Science and Tech is for rupees 250 for this video like in English. See, PDF is always in English. The only difference is about the voice. Like in this particular video, I have explained everything using the English language only. My voice is in English, so it's an English video. For this you have to pay 250 rupees. If you are comfortable with the Hindi video also, in that case you have to pay just 200 rupees. When you pay this 200 or 250 rupees, you get access to all the paid videos of Science and Tech current affairs for prelims 2021. Okay, so some portion, see, PDF is totally free. There is no charges for PDF. PDF is totally free. Of PDF, some portion video you are seeing on YouTube, and remaining portion videos you have to pay. You pay 250 rupees, you get access to all these paid videos of the classes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many classes are there from May 2022, August, September 2021. All these classes you will get. How to join, how to make this payment, okay, that details are given in the description box of this video, or you can visit our website. So if you are using Android mobile phone, then open the Play Store, download the app All Inclusive IAS. If you are using iPhone or iPad, download the app Class Plus and put the organization code as MXLDF. Once the application is downloaded, open the store at the bottom of the screen, choose the course you want to purchase, make the payment. After payment, again open the store and see the course you have purchased. You will be able to access the videos. If you want to see the videos on laptop, then the link is given in the description box. Open the link, register yourself, make the payment, and then open the My Courses. After opening My Courses, you will be able to see the videos. Please note that you have to choose only one platform among these 3. You cannot say that you open the mobile app, make the payment, and then you say now I want to see the videos on the laptop. No, that is not possible. If you have made the payment on the laptop, then you will see the videos only on the laptop and not on the mobile app. So transferability is not allowed due to some technical reasons which are not in my control. So sorry for that. You will have to choose only one platform. And please remember, we are talking about only about the videos. All this you have to do for the videos. That is the paid portion. PDF is totally free. If you want the notification of our next video, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon.